Ray, why don't you introduce yourself to our viewers?
I'm Ray Edmondson. I'm a prospect for having a great sale on my house.
Yep. I am going to be listing Ray's house, and I wanted to invite Ray here to talk a little bit about his chairs he gave me. So he had to declutter his home, and he had these amazing chairs, and he asked me if I wanted them, and I jumped at the chance. Tell me a little bit about how you got these chairs and the kind of the background with these chairs, Ray.
For years, I worked in the furniture industry, primarily on the. For years, I had grown up in the business furniture industry and did a lot of work in offices. I've done a lot of hospital work. I've done a lot of work in the laboratory arena, and part of the things that I was exposed to is a history of some of the office furniture that has been available for a long period of time. The chairs that we're sitting in is called a Wassily chair, and was first designed in 1925 and has the humble beginnings. What made the chair so unique is that in the early 1920s, one of the people who became a legend in the commercial furniture industry had an idea of taking the form of the bicycle handles and developed this into a whole series of chairs. This one is probably one of the more renowned chairs in the industry, but is really a centerpiece. It's in the Museum of Modern Art, and as well as other accolades. And a chair looking like this you would think is brand new, but it is actually almost 100 years old.
Almost 100 years.
The design of it.
And the designer was an architect, I understand,
Yes.
and taught also at, was it Bauhaus?
Bauhaus was a great design organization in Germany, and the gentleman is from Germany, and the Bauhaus design is very, very well known and has been a leader in some of the designs, not only of some furniture, but a major architectural organization that has buildings all over the world. And a very simple design, but very encompassing in keeping up with technology and things like this. Much of the work was done with Ford Motor Company, and they built a lot of buildings. A lot of universities have buildings built, designed by these people, and the look is people who are familiar with engineering and everything. They encompassed a lot of the engineering that is now seen today. Like all of the buildings starting in about the late 1940s, the glass buildings that we see all over the place, that was a major breakthrough and part of the legacy of this organization that designed these chairs. But really, many of the renowned buildings in the world were designed by this group.
When I came over and we were consulting about how to get your house ready, prepped and ready to go to sale, and I looked at them, I thought they were modern, real modern, and it's just really a unique chair, the way that they're designed, and I really appreciate you letting me have them for this new series of videos that we're going to be continuing doing and stuff like that. And they're built very well, and
Right.
and a lot of thought went through them. with something so simple.
The original chairs, this is leather, and the original chairs were made out of, this was fabric.
Canvas?
And they probably, I think in the early 30s maybe, made that transition. And this chair is, golly, right now this chair is probably, what, 40 some years old since we've had it. And one of the things, obviously, when you are moving, you have to give up some things. And most of the materials that you give up, there's a heart is attached to it. I was very, very skeptical about finding somebody who would be able to use it and would be able to keep the legacy of that chair going on.
And I appreciate it that you endowed them to me.
And I think from a standpoint of this, Steve also has some other design of chairs that are all kind of in the Bauhaus. The stools over there.
Yep.
The original maker of that equipment was a person out of the 1940s coming out of World War II. And in World War II, a lot of the splints were made with plywood.
Okay.
And so a lot of these chairs with the wood backs and, you know, the plywood.
They used the heat and curved and steamed it and curved it to create it. Yeah, I love, I love this design, especially for my office. My office is a little eclectic, maybe, but I love working in my office here because I have a little bit of stuff from everybody that I meet in it. My desk is actually a drafting table that my dad gave me that he sat at for years and years when he worked for the highway department. And I've repurposed it. I cut a little bit off of it to make it so it wasn't so gigantic because it was a gigantic drafting table, but now it's a perfect desk for me, standing and sitting, and I love using the high chairs, and this just fits so well in here. I had to kind of rearrange my office to get it in, but I love this. This is kind of a great little set to do my interviews and talk a little bit about real estate and kind of how everything kind of comes together naturally. And now you're selling your house and you're moving to California, I understand. What's the hardest and biggest obstacle that you're going through right now through this whole process of downsizing?
Well, as I mentioned, we're moving into a unit in San Diego, and it's relatively small. So we have, our house is not monstrous, but we have some big pieces of furniture that we've had for years, and I think that the experience is going into our garage and finding all of the things that we've kind of set back there, and the things that are dear to us. We want to make sure that with Steve, he can certainly appreciate this, and it's I think that it's all about trying to make decisions that you have to make for us to make this move. And most people these days are moving from California to Arizona. We're doing the reverse of that, and that's a big change.
Yeah,
for sure.
But San Diego I happened to live in San Diego once upon a time too after college, and it's a beautiful area. The weather is always perfect there, it seems like. So
yeah, our daughter lives in San Diego, and so when we decided that we were going to move, we live probably 15 minutes from where she lives, and she lives in one of the beach communities, but is in North San Diego, and it's beautiful there. And so The one thing about Phoenix is that it's close to San Diego, and so we spent a lot of time over there.
Yeah. You drive over there typically?
Yeah, virtually all the time. It's about a 5-hour drive, and considering the time, if you look about going to the airport, being there an hour, it's the same time, and you have, at least that's the way we always looked at it. We've flown a couple of times, but getting to the airport here and
then
getting to there, and all of those types of things. So we spent a lot of time in San Diego, and it's a good place for us to move as we move on in our life.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the whole process of putting your house on sale and getting it ready and prepped. We've done a bunch of stuff to get that ready. Let's talk a little bit about that experience working with me and how that's going, and your feelings on that.
Yeah, I think we've been in this present house 30-some years, and so one of the things that came up is that a lot of the things that we had done, we'd kind of let it go, or not let it go, but we're only trying to satisfy ourselves. So we had a situation where our house was built kind of in this Bauhaus, a lot of the things, and we had the recessed lighting and things like that, and so as we looked at it, Steve suggested the fact that we should really consider to replace all of the ceiling fixtures.
Yeah, with LEDs.
That was, we couldn't envision how that would look, but we put in a couple of units, and obviously it's a low, real energy saver.
Yeah.
And we were able to incorporate all of those elements. We had to do some work in our kitchen.
Yep.
And so, but the lighting, because it was both downstairs and upstairs that we had those units, really kind of continued to keep the house in one area. So all of that was, I think, a significant change. Steve said it would really kind of re-image the house, and that's very much so.
Yeah.
The people that we had through, commented on it, and the low energy level is very beneficial. We also have done some work out in our garage area and some things like that to kind of update that. But we looked at our backyard, and the nice thing about our house, we sit back from the 7th hole on the golf course, and so we look back. We have about 40 yards of green grass behind us, and then the start of the golf course. So the way our house sits, it allows people to enjoy the full breadth of a big backyard. And so we've got room for tables and all sorts of things. And living in Arizona with the great weather in the spring and fall and even the winter, to be able to sit outside and be sitting right on the golf course, but not having the hustle and bustle of what was going on back there. So those are the things that I think are going to be of great value to the people that are going to be interested in buying it.
Oh yeah, it's a great location on a cul-de-sac, on the golf course, with that area before you get to the golf course. So I mean, you're not going to see the golf balls coming, directly at you, and you're sitting outside. You're sitting back, but you still get the view. Right. The golfers coming through and enjoy that. area. I know I do. We're neighbors. But you have a much nicer view from your backyard.
And the thing that, again, it's great for entertaining. I mean, we've over the years hosted some parties and things out there, and again, it's large enough that we could easily, I think one of our last parties, we had about 20 or 30 people over for barbecue. And that has made it nice. And again, the way that the house sits is we have some, what is the wall or the window coverings? What I can't remember. The covering of the windows in the inside.
The lavaliers or the
wooden.
Oh my gosh, I'm going.
Yeah.
I want to say storm shutters, but they're not. They're plantation shutters.
Plantation shutters. So all of the windows have plantation shutters, so you can open them up and close them down
and really control the light.
Really control it, and the position of the house allows us to look out from our living room and not see another house.
Yeah, exactly. You're looking straight out at the golf course, and then your great room in your living room has very nice travertine floors in it.
We put the travertine floors in. Again, it was we're trying to make the house in this stucco type of house that opens up to a whole different inside.
Yep.
And so we had the travertines, just almost a very light beige color.
Yep.
And we have windows all around the living area and the dining area. So it's going to be a great house for somebody, and we're excited to make that move. But I think that the anxiety of trying to make a decision of what you take and what you don't take. My wife, I'm actually more interested in moving forward as soon as possible. My wife is not quite as motivated as.
Moving and downsizing is very difficult. It's a hard thing to do. It was hard for me because I downsized from a house that was close to 4 times as large as what we live in. And I end up having, because my grandmother had passed away, so I inherited all that furniture. And then when my parents decided to downsize and move down here permanently, I inherited a bunch of that furniture. And it was really difficult. One of the most difficult things is trying to decide what you take with you when you downsize, and what's the precious things that you want to hang on to. And it's difficult. And then still having family members, hopefully that they want something too. But there was just a few things when I downsized that we're able to bring down. And I think I picked the right things. I picked something that I grew up with that was my grandmother's, and I brought my dad's desk, Mary's dad's desk that he had actually hand built. So there was a couple pieces of furniture that we brought with us that just meant something. And I think that's always the hardest thing, is just going through that stage of having to get rid of stuff. And it's hard. It's really hard. It's really emotional too.
Yeah, we had actually, I think we've moved actually 4 times. And so again, it's one of these things. This is the longest time we've lived in one house. Always actually moved 3 times kind of in our general area as I made different moves during my business career. And so I think making the decision, and I'd love to take this, but again, I think that the challenges that people have now with the moves or the fact that at one point, it was very easy to give away furniture and, people would come and pick it up. This is a whole different area, different type of things. So we've just kind of slowed down the move and are going to, better be able to figure out what we really want to do and move on.
Yeah. Yeah. The nice thing is you have time to do that.
Right. Right.
You're not in a rush. But it takes some time to go through those motions once you kind of set things in motion to, make the decision, we're moving on to the next, stage in life, and it's, going to have to downsize and some stuff. What do you take with you? How does that look? And it's scary too, I think. It's because there's a little unknown. Now, did you grow up here in Arizona, or where are you originally from?
I was born in Denver, Colorado. My parents met during the Second World War.
Okay.
Got married. We lived up in Denver. I went to school in Colorado, and I met my wife. She was a school teacher that had spent time in Hawaii. And she came back to Denver, and I met her. She was a skier, I was a skier, so our whole courting was on the ski slopes.
On the ski slopes.
And so we married in less than a year after we met, and moved back to Denver, and had a great time. Had an opportunity to move to New Mexico on a business opportunity, and that was a great experience. I mean, that whole culture of New Mexico. Moved to Phoenix for the first time and lived very close to where our house is now. Built a house right by the mountain preserve.
Okay.
Had another opportunity to move. I moved back to New Mexico.
Okay.
And then eventually came back here. So, it's been a good gig. We've had a great time, and we're a little bit challenged by the fact that we're both getting to the time that we need to be simplifying our lives. So we hope this move, once we get done with it, is all we hope it to be.
Yeah. It'll be nice too that you're going to be closer to your daughter too.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that makes things a little easier too on family members too. I think to make sure that you guys are taken well care of. Yeah. I know that my parents are kind of going through the same thing. We want to have them move. They're out a ways out of town and want to move them closer to my sister's house. So, and then it'd be actually closer to us too. So it's easier to help them out when they need help and take care of them. But yeah, it's always tough to give up something so nice. Living on a golf course and that stage of life, golfing and having fun golfing.
Yeah. We played a lot on this golf course, and being in San Diego, we played Torrey Pines and some of the really nice courses. So when we vacationed in Hawaii and played on the golf courses. So our lifestyle, was really kind of being involved with playing golf and the outdoors and things such as that. So we look forward to getting this move behind us. Yeah.
Well, you were very athletic. Golf, tennis, playing tennis quite a bit,
Yeah, in the end, I played a lot of tennis with a lot of people, a group of fellows about my age, and it was great. We played 3 times a week, or no, actually we played 4 times a week.
Wow.
And it was a group of people that, from all different backgrounds. And so it was a great experience. I stopped about a year ago. I had some problems with my health, and so I kind of missed that, but also I stayed close to them, and it's good. A couple of those people that I played tennis with, I also golfed with. So
Okay.
it was a camaraderie
Yeah.
that was very fun to.
I think some of the people you golf with, I golf with some guys, and they become lifelong friends.
Right.
Because you spend 5 hours on a golf course with somebody, you really get to know them, and you really get to meet some really great people too. Golfing,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
great,
golfing
Yeah.
too. It's a great sport, and you can play it for a long time. You might not be able to drive it as far as when you're young, but hopefully your putting game improves, so it kind of makes
Yeah.
up for it. Because if you have a good short game, it makes all the difference in the world. But
Yeah, putting I was actually pretty good at, but getting there, getting to the putting green was sometimes a challenge.
I'm lucky where with the new technology, and I used to be one of the worst drivers in my group.
Wow.
And then when I came down here, I took a lesson from a kid that was on the Corn Ferry tour, that was working at the PGA store, and he kind of let me in on some secrets, and he built me actually a new driver. And
Wow.
I went from probably being the shortest guy driving in my group and the guys I play with to being one of the longer
Wow.
drivers in the group. So I'm enjoying that right now. But I do notice in the summertime the ball goes a lot farther.
Right.
So in the winter, we're talking 30, 40 yards
Wow.
difference, from 280 to 320. You get above 105, that ball's really flying.
Yeah.
Especially if it's nice and dry out and hot. Boy,
Yeah.
it goes out here.
Yeah.
Plus, I think the ground's a little harder too at that time too, so you get probably a little bit more roll out of it too. So,
Yeah.
but the one thing too about golf out here in the summertime, it's a little different than when your buddies come down in the wintertime to play, because in the wintertime, a lot of courses don't overseed the rough in the wintertime. So it's just fairway that's green and everything else is dead. Where in the summertime, if you come down here and play in the summertime, everything's green,
Yeah. Yeah.
in lush. So you can hit out of the rough. And I think I score better in the summertime than I do in the wintertime. So my handicap kind of goes in waves a little bit.
Well,
according
the
to that.
summertime, again, if you spend time out there, you can hydrate yourself, and
Yeah.
that makes it a lot better. A lot of times through the years, my wife is from Michigan, so we would spend a month in Michigan playing the golf courses, and humidity and things like that. So maybe there's a big differential. It's relatively low humidity here in Phoenix, so it's much more comfortable.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been here coming up on 5 years being down here, and it was one of the best moves we've ever. Well, it was the best move we ever made. I enjoy life so much more out of the Minnesota humidity. I had some bad accidents, motorcycle accidents, when I was younger, and had arthritis pretty bad. Down here, I don't have the arthritis. Every once in a while, you'll see me kind of limping or gimping, and I think it's when the weather changes and we do have a little bit of humidity come in, and then I do feel that. But for the most part, I feel really, really good down here. So I've enjoyed our move down here,
We've
enjoyed living on the golf
we've
course.
enjoyed, again, a lot of changes are happening here in Phoenix, but I think with a lot of positive things, especially for this area, with the growth is, going to be great for lots and lots of people, and restaurants and things like that are so close.
Yeah. Well, as we start to kind of wrap things up, after, this life experience that you had so far, what would you say now to your younger self?
I think that I probably didn't appreciate all of the things that we have been able to do. And I look back on those, times, we have had a great experience, and now that I'm slowing down a little bit, we can look back and, laugh with all the people that we've met, great people in all the locations, and we're fortunate in the fact that we have been able to kind of cruise through without any major problems.
Yeah. So that's good. So give our viewers a little word of advice before we leave.
Well, I think number one, my wife and I and our family have been blessed, and as people move forward, you need to kind of smell the roses and take advantage of it. So.
Time's fleeting sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do it now before you can't.
Right. Yeah.
Well, with that, Ray, I really appreciate the chairs.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to have somebody who, can appreciate it. And that's the thing, that as you give things away, you just, you just hope that somebody will treat it as, as we have treated it. And, I think that those are the things that I'm really happy for this, because, these chairs have a lot of good thoughts that go with it. So.
Well, every time that I sit in my, think of you.
Well, great.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. How was that?
Well, a lot of outtakes.